currently Luna Lovegood, and I'm going to present on the use of media in Harry Potter. This is a very academic-y-ish panel, but a little more layman's term than like if I was actually writing an English literature essay, so it's a little bit of both. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you all know the Harry Potter series, because there's, book 7 spoilers. But that's that. So here's my disclaimer. I compiled the presentation in terms of quotes and information from my own research, but I also pulled some stuff from the wiki and from Pottermore, and just to kind of pull it all together into a coherent presentation. I also don't have a mic, so I hope, can you guys in the back hear me? Good, awesome. And I put a lot of memes in here. Sorry, not sorry. You just have to read them if you're interested in them. I'm not going to point them out. They're there. They're on every slide. Every slide. Sorry. And there was something else. Oh, this primarily focuses on the books, not the movies. So there's going to be a little bit of crossover, obviously, because movies are based on the books. But if there's stuff that's different in the movies, this is about the books. This is not about the movies. A little bit of background on me. I'm a creative writer, so when I analyze things, it's from the perspective of a writer, because when writers analyze things, it's because, I really like it or I didn't like it, and I want to either repeat it or not repeat it in my own work, so that's where I come from with this, so that's how this is going to work. Good? Any questions? Okay. Am I talking too fast? Okay. So we'll start with the basic. What is media? This is the use of media in Harry Potter. Media is any primary form of mass communication. So obviously in our world we've got social media, Twitter, Facebook, etc. There's no social media in the Harry Potter world, but there is newspapers, there is television within the books, and there is some other things that I will get to as I go that maybe are loosely defined as media, but I'm going to work with it anyway. The really cool thing that JK Rowling did with this series is she included a lot of different forms of media, and that's like tip number 1 for world building. If you're building a unique world, it needs to have media, because every society forever, always, has had some form of mass communication. That's what makes it a society. That mass communication is going to look different depending on their technology and their magic and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But mass communication is how we relay information and rules and laws and anything, and just entertainment, all of that stuff. Like, for instance, the fact that I have a lovely sign interpreter here, which is super, super cool, because I'm able to relay my information to anyone who potentially can't hear what I'm saying. I really love that. So that's an interesting point. Like, what do wizards do? Do they just have, is it English Sign Language for Great Britain, or is it not, I don't know. Anyway, but like, what do? A lot of the Harry Potter series magically cures a lot of diseases, and that's kind of problematic when you think about it, because what do you count as a disease or not? So if anyone who's deaf in the wizarding world, do they get like magically cured and they can hear people? Is there some magical charm that like bypasses their ear? Or are there sign language wizards? Is that interesting? Okay. Moving on. Article 1, television. And now I'm going to have trivia questions. What was the first news report in the Harry Potter series about? Anyone? Go ahead. You gotta speak louder, I can't hear you. No, first it's not that anyway. It's something they're watching at the Dursleys, yes?
The owls.
It is about the owls, there you go. So the very first chapter of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone / Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is kind of that prologue chapter that follows the Dursleys, so we get to like see what a normal Dursley life is before Harry Potter gets introduced to their life. Is the mic working? I think it's fine, I can project. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
So the very first news report is something that Vernon Dursley is watching, and it's about birdwatchers everywhere reporting that these owls are flying around in broad daylight. What is up with that? Also in Kent, Yorkshire, and Dundee, there have been these shooting stars. Like, what in the world is going on? These muggles are, like, absolutely, totally shocked about all this craziness going on, right? So we're setting up this divide between the wizarding world and the Muggle world within the Harry Potter series. Television is a Muggle lens. Anytime a television, anything comes on in the Harry Potter series, it's to see the Muggle lens of what is currently going on within the Harry Potter series. So this is the very first media report we get at all, and it is the Muggle lens, because what is Harry starting? Starting in the Muggle life, and he's moving into the wizard life. So we're starting with the Muggle lens, and we slowly, as the series go on, lose television. Television, the last time we see television is in book 5. After book 5, it's like we are entrenched in the wizarding world. Muggles don't matter anymore. This is what's really interesting about what they changed for the movies, because the Muggle world is still there in books 6 and 7, or in movies 6, 7, and 7 Part 2, but it's not there practically at all in books 6 and 7, because Harry's kind of made that complete transition in the books. So, Muggle lens, television. Again, in book 3, chapter 2, we get another Muggle lens for things that's going on. Sirius Black, report on the escaped convict. He's armed and extremely dangerous. Muggle lens about this scary serial killer that's running around, right? It's really funny to me every time we get this Muggle lens, because it almost always involves the Dursleys, and it almost always involves a little bit of foreshadowing. So Vernon, for instance, after they have this news article, it's not the word I'm looking for, television report, whatever, news report, Vernon's like, but they didn't say where this convict escaped from. He could be right outside our door right now. Oh, foreshadowing, he literally is, and they didn't say where he escaped from, because he escaped from Azkaban, right? So, yeah, foreshadowing. And then, again, this is book 5, this is the last time we get television Muggle lens coming in, and it is with this major transition that I'll come back to that happens within book 5. Book 5 is, if you kind of plot arc the entire 7-book Harry Potter series, book 5 is the climax. Book 5 is the turning point for the entire series. And it starts here at the very beginning, where Harry is listening, trying so hard to see if the Muggles have noticed something going on with Voldemort, and they haven't. So it's this rising tension, this calm before the storm, because he is totally secluded within the Muggle world at the beginning of book 5, and he doesn't know anything. He's totally lost and concerned, and the Muggles have no idea what's going on. Again, why the change in the movies is totally weird for me from the writer perspective, because it makes a completely different thematic shift when Voldemort and the Death Eaters are attacking Muggles in the movies. Because that's not, I mean, they attack Muggles, but not in such a wide scale, oh my gosh, there are terrorists running around way. So, yeah, and then in book 6, instead of having a lot of time with the Dursleys, Harry instead gets taken, 2 weeks into his summer vacation to start hunting for Horcruxes, so that's pretty much the last time we get this Muggle lens, is in book 5. Any questions so far? Does it all make sense? Comments about Muggle television? No? No? Cool. Okay, last thing, on Pottermore, I will say this, some of the things that JK put on Pottermore are, why did she choose to world build this way? I don't know if you guys saw, but she literally put about before toilets were introduced to the wizarding world, wizards would just go to the bathroom where they stood and then clean themselves with magic. What? That's on Pottermore. Why? Why would you ever say that was a societal thing? So one of the things she talked about on Pottermore was the British Wizarding Broadcasting Corporation, which was a short-lived wizarding television network where things would actually pop through the screen and et cetera, and it got banned because it was too dangerous in terms of breaking the international statute of wizard secrecy, whatever I'm trying to say. I think that's really interesting in the sense that what this implies is their radio programs, which we'll get to later, Muggles could tune into. like this implies that like if they're gonna have a television network, it's something that like Muggles could accidentally flip to, right? Which I don't understand why it wouldn't just be like a local television, cable, magical, whatever that only went to people with wizarding televisions, right? But it also implies that their radios work the same way, I would assume, if you're going, cross logic with that. So like anyone could literally tune into a radio station that's talking about, the gnomes in the yard or anything like that. So I don't know. Personally, I don't really like that bit of world building, but it exists. Supposedly, wizards were going to have television, and then they didn't. So, any thoughts on that? No. You guys feel free to talk. Yeah.
Well, even if you have it designed so that this television station would only go to people with wizarding televisions, there were instances of wizarding products ending up in the local worlds.
Right. But then again, there are already instances of wizarding products ending up in the Muggle world, so why would a wizard television be any worse or better than anything else? That
If a Muggle purchases
if a Muggle purchases
a
it.
wizarding television,
It's a good one.
they flip to
Because the wizard society is trying to keep itself secret from those without magic. So, if let's say the radio station,
Uh-huh.
television station, it's basically like the classical German expression, it's like waking the fourth floor.
Right.
So they want to stay as much secluded as possible. So that's why they treat television is a threat.
Yeah. Yeah? Yes.
I think the radio would be fine because it would, even if the Muggles had listened to it, it would be like a War of the Worlds scenario that they did.
Right.
So it'd just be like, oh, they're reading a book.
Right.
Or something like that.
Right. That's a good point. Yes.
Aren't British TVs more likely by subscription? You have to pay for each channel. Kind of like our cable.
It's a television tax. Apparently, like, if you pay a small amount, you get access to black and white television only. But if you want color television, you have to pay more tax.
It's kind of like our cable
Yeah.
setup
Yeah.
nowadays. So
That's yes.
I was thinking more of the television thing, like say if the person was like Muggle born and they had like friends come over who were Muggle and forgot that the TV was on, they could see something and be like, what the heck is going on?
That's a good point. Yes.
It's probably just like, the Spanish television you turn to, don't understand.
Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. It's just, I mean, like the minimum fact is like JK Rowling probably just didn't think to or didn't want to include television within the wizarding world. So then later she tried to come up with an explanation for why. But it's an interesting thought process. Yes.
Could it possibly be the audience that this series was presented to, the fact that he was trying to get more into reading away from television?
That's a really good point. That's entirely possible. Also, we know that she, especially when she was writing book one, was not doing so well financially herself and potentially did not have the extra funds to pay for the British, cable television services. I mean, she could have had a television. Like I don't want to make judgments about how she was living at the time, but we know that she.
Well, no, but she did say in an interview that she spent most of her time writing it on the train.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think? Most people who ride the train are listening to
Yeah.
either their iPod or their what were they at the time? They walked past Walkmans. Thank you, MP3 player.
Yeah.
Or reading a book.
That's true. That is very true. Because it was definitely pre-smartphone, so.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, any last thoughts about television? I guess the overall thing I want you to take away from it is that television was the Muggle lens within the Harry Potter series, because for whatever reason she chose, she did not include it within the Wizarding world, and therefore anytime we see television within the series, it is the Muggle lens. Yes? Good? Okay. Moving on. Article 2, newspaper. How much does a subscription to the Daily Prophet cost? Yes.
5 nuts.
Correct for one part of the series. Anyone else want to give a other answer that maybe is also correct? No? Yes?
Just one.
You got it. You both got it. It is 5 And that's when Hagrid, so the very first time we see it in book 1, when Hagrid comes and it's like, hurry, pay the owl, right? That's 5. Later, when we see Hermione ordering it in the Great Hall, it's only 1. Is there a student discount? Did the Daily Prophet just, start, less people started buying it because it's trash, so therefore they, decrease the price? I don't know. But yes, it was 5 at the beginning, and then it was 1, 3 books later. Yes. Yeah. So, moving on to, back to Break-In, Gringotts Break-In Latest. That is, in fact, the first newspaper article we get in the Harry Potter series. The Daily Prophet, actually all the newspapers, all the articles that we get in the series are major plot point foreshadow pieces. Like, newspaper is the Wizarding World lens. So, anytime you have to foreshadow something that's going to be happening in the Wizarding World related to wizarding matters, it's probably going to come in an article in the Daily Prophet before we get more information from other things going on in the series. So the very first time we get this is the Break-In in Gringotts. Woo, oh my god, we were just at that vault and Hagrid emptied it, blah, 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 blah. What is that mysterious package? Very first major plot clue for book 1. It's actually kind of the only major foreshadowing you get for the eventual Philosopher's Stone in book 1, with the exception of the clues that Harry is actually getting, to advance him understanding what the Philosopher's Stone was. Something that was weirdly convoluted, what I just said, but you got that? And then again, we get Black Still at Large, so we get the Muggle lens on Sirius Black at the very beginning of book 3, and then we get the Wizarding lens on Sirius Black, which actually explains who Sirius Black is, only a chapter later in book 3. Trespass at the Ministry is a little foreshadowing about that top secret door that's at the Ministry. It's this tiny little article where Sturgis Podmore gets arrested for trying to break into this top secret door, but then of course you get Harry having all these mysterious dreams about it, etc., etc., etc. In all these cases, this article is basically the first piece of information you get for anything that's going to happen in that book, which is interesting. Mass Breakup from Azkaban is not what I just said. Mass Breakup from Azkaban is what I would consider the pinpoint climax for the entire series. When this article comes out that says all the Death Eaters were broken out from Azkaban, that is if you had to choose one moment that is the climax for the entire plot arc, I would say that is the peak of that metaphorical plot arc chart that we just mentally made. So, because that is the moment when things just got real. Oh crap, this guy's here, he's just broken out a bunch of minions, he's gonna attack us. Sure, there's been some real danger in the series, but that's the moment when it turns from this child puzzle adventure to a war story. It's that moment. So, and it's also the moment when Umbridge amps up her game. That, because of that article, which is great tension building. I was just listening to a podcast. If you guys are at all interested in writing, there's a lovely podcast called Writing Excuses, put on by Brandon Sanderson and some other pretty awesome authors. And one of the things that they were saying in one of the podcasts was about how JK Rowling does her tension, and the way she constructs her books is that anytime something is going to be solved, something else immediately, within the same chapter, within the same scene, gets introduced as a problem. And this is one of those moments when everything just goes to 10,000%, because oh my gosh, we understand now what Voldemort's doing. Oh my god, Umbridge is going to get in our way, right? So it's everything is ramping. Does that make sense? Yes? Awesome.
Question?
Yes?
What was the podcast about?
It was called Writing Excuses. Yeah, the end of every podcast is, now you're out of excuses, go write. Which I love it. It's a great, inspirational thing, and they do a lot of really cool different podcasts, and they're all pretty short. So that's nice. So the Daily Prophet, like I already said, it portrays. I said the Daily Prophet was the lens of the Wizarding world. More specifically, it's the lens of the outside wizarding world. It's the lens of the ministry and the general public that are not at Hogwarts. So just like television is the lens of the Muggles, the Daily Prophet is the lens of the general wizarding public, right? Not like the main Hogwarts cast. Most of the time, what it's doing is portraying the action, which is basically the inaction of what the ministry is doing. Because in order to write the series as she wrote it, she couldn't have a bunch of wizarding police guys go and save the whole world. Like, we can't have wizarding army men go and storm Voldemort's citadel. We have to have, a 17-year-old boy kill the guys. So therefore, you have to have a really incompetent ministry and a really complacent wizarding public in order to make that plot work. And so she sets it up literally from the very beginning, from book 1, with these Daily Prophet articles that this big bad thing happened, but we never see an article this big bad thing was solved by an adult. Ever. So there you go. It's also where we get to see the change from the very beginning, where Harry Potter is this lauded savior, really interesting boy, oh my gosh, what's he gonna do? And Albus Dumbledore, of course, is this very amazing, very wise wizard. That's, the ministry and the public's perception of them at the beginning. And throughout time, we get to see the discrediting of both of them. So that by book 5, they're both completely discredited, which allows for the tension of book 5, because if they were both still highly accredited at the end of book 4, when both of them were like, Voldemort's back, what would have happened?
Right.
Things would have happened, actually. They would have started looking. So instead, you have to build up this discredit of both of them, so that by the time you get to book 5, you've got they're completely seen as crackpots, both of them, right? So we're going to come back to that discreditation. That's not a word. We're going to come back to that in a little bit, because I think this is really interesting to consider what could have been if that had not happened. Okay. This thing happens in book 7 and 6, at the end of book 6 and in book 7, where the ministry is taken over by the Death Eaters, right? So obviously, since for some reason our press in the wizarding world is completely controlled by the ministry, when it's taken over, then the Daily Prophet is just what Voldemort's using to get out his information to people, right? It's just everything is normal, you don't need to panic. So if we no longer have a lens with which to see plot points and foreshadowing because it's controlled by Voldemort, then where does that hole get filled within book 7? Does anyone know? What? The what? Sorry.
There's 2 newspapers, the Daily Prophet.
The Quibbler, yep, the Quibbler's one, yes.
That radio.
The radio. The Quibbler and the radio. Yeah, that's exactly right. The Quibbler! So the Quibbler is really interesting because it was first introduced as just a character point, character world building for Luna Lovegood. Just as a way, because literally the first time we see it, she's holding it upside down, she's crazy, Ron's oh, that's Looney Lovegood, and, it's just this funny little magazine, not really worth anything, right? It has a bunch of crackpot theories in it. This becomes a reversal as soon as we as the Daily Prophet starts discrediting Harry Potter in book 5, right? The Quibbler becomes the avenue for Harry to turn that around. Once Harry realizes, oh man, I need to talk to the wizarding public, or at the very least, my friends at Hogwarts, because everyone's turning against me again, where is he going to go? He can't go to the Daily Prophet, so he ends up going to the Quibbler. So that introduction of the Quibbler through that just character introduction is in fact foreshadowing for later within the book. Harry, this is the other climax point. Harry releases an article within the Quibbler, which is his, what actually happened the night at the graveyard release article, which is what made most of the kids at Hogwarts, like join the DA and be like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, etc. What made Cho come crying, etc. I want to date you because I saw your boyfriend die. Like, why? Okay, so that article being released is a major mood turner. So you've got all this tension in book 5. He doesn't know what's going on. You get to school, there's this terrible, terrible teacher that's just like totally hateful and ignoring everything that's going on. And then you've got this mass breakout from Azkaban, and Umbridge is like, nothing to worry about, children, and then starts setting about more rules. And Harry's like, I cannot stand this anymore. It's this tension, 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 tension. Releases this article. We have a way to beat this. Like, it's this mood lifter, right? Because book 5 is really hard to get through, right? There's a lot of really depressing, like literal depression moments within book 5, so you needed this moment of mood break so that we can still feel like they're gonna win. It's not gonna be terrible. They're still gonna win. You still got a hero story, not a tragedy. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. Okay. More about the Quibbler. When we lose the Daily Prophet in book 7, the Quibbler becomes where we get that information. The information, the truth that, the Daily Prophet should have been giving all along, right? So you get truth about Dumbledore, you get discussion about purebloods and Muggleborns, you get they publish a lot about deaths, they publish about the Deathly Hallows, like there's all this actual, true, important information that comes through the Quibbler. And there's this really lovely line that happens in book 7. I want to say it's chapter 15. I might be wrong. I was like, I want to say that's in the wedding, but it can't be in the wedding. It has to be later in book 7, where Ted, Tonks, and Dirks Bentley, is that his name? That's why I said that. Never mind. I don't know who Dirk is. Ted Tonks, for sure, and Dirk someone are talking about the Quibbler, and it's that moment that, like, literally JK Rowling is like, look, this is where I filled that hole. She's just kind of throwing it in your face within that conversation. Yeah. Also, why in the world isn't Ravenclaw's mascot a raven? What?
Something like merchandise, it is a raven.
That's the problem. Like,
I know, yeah. Like, we just recently went to Harry Potter World, and I'd seen a bunch of the memes previously, but then we were looking at all the merchandise, and they did switch it to a raven.
it is. In all of the official merchandise, it's a raven. But I hate that. Like, either you choose to make it an eagle, and therefore you stick with it, or it was like a raven from the beginning, and then, like, okay. Yeah. You'd have to make a magical raven. Like, ravens are often considered magical in a lot of myths, so you'd have to, like, really explore that within the series to make this work. But, like, a raven that was magical, and a griffin, and a basilisk, and a pygmy puff, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Hufflepuff would have. That would be so sad if they had a pygmy puff and, like, everyone else had these, like, intense, but it would be really appropriate for the series. We're going to go on to magazines. Technically, you could call the Quibbler a magazine, but it works, it functions as a series more like the Daily Prophet does, so I put them together. And this is going to be like the other kind of magazine articles. What award did Gilderoy Lockhart win 5 years in a row?
Yes.
Most Charming Smile Award. Yep. So, Which Weekly is... I love that one. Which Weekly... What am I saying? Which Weekly is a great piece of world building. It comes in plot point-wise very briefly, but it's just kind of course this Wizarding World would have a gossip magazine, right? Like that makes a lot of sense world building wise. That's Which Weekly. It was created by Tobias Mistlethrope, if anyone cares. Which Mistlethrope, by the way, I believe is a reference to the ancient mermaid queen that's in Ovid's Metamorphoses. Is that the name of that? Anyway, this is total trivia. It includes articles and quizzes and just, basic teen girl type stuff, right? Rita Skeeter published Harry's Secret Heartache in this, and that's when we get this very, very important thing that happens in the Harry Potter series that I find very, very fascinating. So Hermione, because Hermione supposedly is having an affair with Harry and Victor Crumb, right? Because of that article, she gets hate mail, right? She gets a lot of hate mail because of that article. When she tells Hagrid about this, he's like, yeah, I got hate mail too because of that article Rita Skeeter wrote about my mom being a giantess, right, etc. So we've got two people that are receiving hate mail. Does Harry Potter ever receive mail from anyone that doesn't know him?
You don't know.
That's interesting. Keep going. So fan mail. Fan mail seems to be the primary way that fans communicate with the people that they really like, their celebrities, because of course there's no social media, right? So it's through fan mail. Gilderoy Lockhart, we know, gets tons of fan mail, right? And has, people in detention help him sign it, because that's what I would do if I had a ton of letters to go through. Harry, arguably, is a bigger celebrity than Gilderoy Lockhart, right? We know that in book 1, I was literally just rereading book 1, audiobook on the way up here for A-kon, and when he doesn't know who he is yet, and he's just walking the street, like, strange people would bow to him and shake his hand, right? So, A, that's a huge plot hole, because if people could find him, then why has none of, the Death Eaters that are still around tried to kill him yet? I don't know. And B, why hasn't anyone given him fan mail? Right? You could argue that while he's at the Dursleys, Dumbledore blocks any fan mail from coming in, maybe Vernon Dursley burns it all, whatever, but why doesn't he get any fan mail once he's at Hogwarts? Right, but so you could then, so if it's going to be crazy and it's going to be too much and it's going to fill his head like Dumbledore doesn't want, then he blocks all his fan mail, which, in America is illegal to, stop people's mail from getting to them, but whatever. Yeah, pretty much.
But it's also a different kind of celebrity. I mean, you're talking the difference between liking to follow, I don't know, Jude Law, to wanting to follow somebody who had actually made a difference.
So do you think that Harry wouldn't have got fan mail?
I don't think that they would have thought of him in the same context as they would have
Gilderoy Lockhart?
Yeah.
It's a good point, yes.
And I think once he gets to school and the other students interact with him and you see him more on the same level as them, he's still very highly respected, especially in book 5, when people believe him and the DA is more. But I think once they start to associate him more as a real person, other kids are probably not as willing to go those ways. We see Colin Creevey a little bit keeping him like an idol, but I think once the other kids associate with him, they wouldn't have that mentality.
And in all reality, it would be really creepy for a kid his age to get fan mail from an adult.
Yeah.
That's true.
That would be creepy.
That's true. Yes.
I think in the books it's probably more than respect rather than such as fans. Because, you think about somebody who, firework or something, they're not going to necessarily get fan mail all the time, but it's more that people respect that, kind of thanking a police officer when you see them.
Right. Yes.
I think the reason is maybe because you see sometimes in the books where people be sending curses and such, and Dumbledore wanting to get hurt.
So with blocks, yep, that's a good point too. Yes.
So the comments about the kids interacting with them brings up another interesting point. So he only interacts with wizards in Britain. How do they handle international mail? Is that ever mentioned? Because owls and oceans don't seem like a great...
No, we get very little mention about anything about the international world until we get to Pottermore and she starts filling in the gaps. I mean, all we get is the Triwizard Tournament, right? Yes.
What if, I don't know, that probably in the 60s and 70s when they started doing gentry against probably even more versions. If you wanted to say you were to Australia by airplane, because the airplanes didn't have the range to basically stop all over the place.
Yeah.
So what if that?
What if Alice did that?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think if you look at the tri-wizarding world, like you're talking about, and you look at the actual geographic of the way England is now, there's very small bodies of water between like a France and England
That's
or
so
a Netherlands. And I mean, because that's,
Bulgaria, I think,
is that where it came from?
in Durstrang, I believe, is in. So we never get confirmation, but I believe the like major two places people think is either it's Bulgaria or it's like Ukraine area. I don't think it's Scandinavia. I think it's East Europe. Yeah. So
know Victor comes based in the organic green.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he plays for their Quidditch team, but I didn't think that's where the school was.
but we never.
But right, but either way, if you look at it geographically,
It's
in,
not that
in
far.
reality,
Yeah.
there's not that much of water. Yeah, there's not that much.
So we do. I realize I'm wrong though. We do get a mail from International. We get Sirius Black with this like brightly colored toucan type bird sends Harry and Ron a letter at the beginning of book 4, right? And includes Pigwidgeon, right? As a present. No, it does not include Pigwidgeon as a present because that's a later mail. He sends mail with Pigwidgeon, right? And then says you can keep the owl. At a different time, he sends this like toucan bird, right? And it's like, I can't tell you where I am, but it's warm and tropical.
You also there's a number of names that is it's
Sorry. Yes.
Otherwise, what if wizards have
It's really interesting to consider. Can you operate across? I mean, we see within Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them that he takes the boat. Newt takes the boat across. So obviously, you can't operate that distance, and or flew that distance, and or is there such a thing as an international port key? I guess not, because we get all the kids in school don't get port keyed into Hogwarts. They all like have to travel to Hogwarts. So I guess magical has a limitation about how far it can go. Yes.
Says it's in Scandinavia.
It is in Scandinavia. I was totally wrong. I totally thought it was East Europe. So good to know. That's interesting.
3-4 different countries to pick from.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Denmark. That's gonna be my vote.
And I know it can't be that far because there's actually been news that they're reporting that they're building a bridge from the end of the Scandinavian to.
Yeah, that's the North Sea is not too.
So
huge.
it can't be a huge, expansive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
It's so
it's
funny.
going to be.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is expansion bridge. It's like a Key West, I guess I can do that.
Denmark,
No,
expansion bridge, Sweden, so it's
Or Finland, like
Finland no.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I won't be driving over
It's not, it's not Scandinavian.
No, Scandinavia is Sweden, Denmark, no.
You can make
What
a
about
case for
Finland?
I thought Finland-
Yes,
It is up intention on
Yes,
the city.
I agree.
it's like.
I would count Finland as Scandinavian, but yeah.
It's on that.
Alright, one more question and then we gotta move on. Yes.
Yep.
Question.
Distract way too much from his own trying to just deal with everyone else and do it on his own.
For that.
Things that are going
I'm
on.
gonna go to some future team that's partnered with letters of fan mail that will probably bring the book series to a whole new direction. And trying to
Perfect. Yes. Okay, let's go off that. That's exactly what I'm going to say. So this thing happens in book 2, right? When Harry's signing Lockhart's, signed pictures or whatever for him, right? And he's not really paying attention because there's this weird voice in the walls. What is going on, right? As he's struggling to listen to this voice in the wall, Lockhart's talking to him, right? And Lockhart's saying, so he's answering the fan mail, etc. And Lockhart says, "Fame's a fickle friend, Harry." And then he also says, "Celebrity is as celebrity does." I find this fascinating with the idea that Lockhart tried very, very hard throughout book 2 to get Harry to kind of apprentice under him in the ways of being a celebrity. And of course, the way the narrative is framed, you're supposed to be like, oh, Lockhart, he's a bad guy, don't do that, etc. Lockhart is a terrible dude, obviously. He's taking away all of this, fame that has rightly belonged to these other heroes. But you can't argue that he's really, really good at this whole media thing, Like, he's obviously got that down. What would have happened if Harry had actually taken some of his advice? A celebrity is what a celebrity does. If Harry was getting fan mail, or even if he wasn't getting fan mail, even if he would just consent to giving an interview at the Daily Prophet, year one, I'm back in the wizarding world, I'm not who, I'm just a boy. Like, that's a very common type of thing for a young celebrity to give as an interview where it's like, I'm in school now and I really would just like to focus on my studies, so like don't talk about this whole boy who lived thing, right? I could totally see Harry giving that kind of interview with a little bit of push to give that kind of interview. How would that have changed the perception of the wizarding world if he had had any interaction with people outside of Hogwarts before things started getting real, right? How would they have stood behind him if he had become more of a real boy than just this name? Would the public have just stood complacent while this boy is being forced to fight? Right? It's interesting. Any thoughts about that real quick? And then we move
That's
on.
sort of the same part you just say it's a production. Some people who like fan fiction just like that.
I welcome anyone who writes fan fiction to like consider that idea. Yes.
So, do you think that most people would consider everybody as a what you live? So, it's a big deal that when you actually see Harry Potter, it's like, oh, that's a person.
Yeah.
Not just a legend that in there.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, consider this, and I don't like the fact that JK did not put this in. On the very first Halloween night, we get this big celebration, right? Harry's parents died on Halloween. What would it have done if Harry had said, he probably would have just said it to Ron, and then potentially would have spread, like, I don't want to celebrate Halloween. This is my day of mourning. What would it have done if Harry had at all made it clear, even just to the people at Hogwarts, that, like, yes, I'm super. He does it very briefly with Ron, and then it's laughed off, right? Where, like, Ron's like, oh my god, you have this scar, blah, 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 blah. Like, yes, my parents had to die for it. It's not cool. I have a bunch of money. My parents had to die for it. Like, I don't like that, right? If he had at all pushed that idea, because when you have someone, especially in school, right, you have someone that's famous for some reason, you get a lot of attention, and a lot of it turns very negative, right? That's what happens in this series. If Harry had at all been smart in the ways of people crowd-pleasing, he could have very easily made that attention something a little more real and a little more positive. I don't think that's a plot hole on JK's part. I think that's actually very interesting that she deliberately didn't do that, because that allows for what happens in the series. I just think it's an interesting thought process to consider. Like, what if Harry had been in Slytherin? What if he had been sorted into Slytherin and someone in Slytherin had been like, dude, you have an opportunity here to work the public. Why aren't you using it, right? That would have been interesting. I gotta move on because we're getting towards the end. Okay. Chocolate Frog cards. How many uses of Dragon's Blood are there? 12. You got it. This is on Albus Dumbledore's Chocolate Frog card. He helped discover the 12 uses of Dragon's Blood. So, hey, are Chocolate Frog cards media?
There wasn't channel information.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, would you say I want to get focus on the it says like the guy is this. That's not like did you know?
And didn't, right. The question is, do you consider something like an encyclopedia media? If you go back to the definition of media, it is a form of mass communication. Before we had the internet, right, or the internet was used as it is today, you'd have to go to an encyclopedia for that basic form. Like Wikipedia is now what encyclopedias were, right, in a sense. So is a Chocolate Frog card a Wizarding World encyclopedia? And in that case, is it media? Maybe? Yes.
I was considered that Chocolate Frog card as like Facebook.
Yeah.
And I very rarely ever think like, yeah, Harry Bond, putting all these facts. I'm not looking for baseball cards that are out there.
So that is a really good point, except that this isn't just, if it was just Chocolate Frog cards were Quidditch players,
Yeah.
I'd hear you, but these have important historical figures. Right? So like we get you get a lot more information from them than just a single part of society. It's like all of society, right?
Let's say, in the book, one says, I collect those cards. Basically, I can say, we say, collectibles.
Yeah, they are. It's just okay. I can't take two. We're like running out of time. But you could say yes or no on media. I'm still going to talk about them because I think they're interesting. They're a form of communication, especially for kids who collect them. The reason this comes up is because the chocolate frog, Albus Dumbledore's chocolate frog card, is a cyclical plot device, and I love it because it's the vital clue for book one, right? The vital clue about his work with Nicholas Flamel on the Philosopher's Stone is on the back of Albus Dumbledore's chocolate frog card, book one, and then it comes back again as a vital clue. His defeat of Grindelwald, book 7. Is that the vital clue, book 7? It comes back in book 7, his chocolate frog card, right? It is, yes, that is in fact what the vital clue is, because then he goes to number card. Yes, so that single card is an extremely important plot device within book 1 and book 7, and you can argue for book 7 it is like the single most important plot device to advance the plot at book 7 where it is. I think that's really interesting because it is literally just this piece of world building. I know I need to wrap it up. We see it in the books, we see people trading them, we see notices on the board about people having them. It's really cool. She literally made 101 chocolate frog cards. Like, she made them. They exist. We know 101 famous people in the wizarding world. That's a huge amount of world building, and I find it fun that she is able to turn these pieces of world building into plot points, right? We're almost done. Oh my gosh, I gotta go fast. Radio. Who's Molly Weasley's favorite singer? Celestina Warbeck. WWN is the Wireless Wizarding Network. It is, we're coming back to this, it is that major form of entertainment. We don't get television in the wizarding world. The Daily Prophet doesn't have a lot of entertainment in it. You get Quidditch games, and you get the WWN. So you get, all those cool songs, you get some fun shows about gardening, etc. I assume that they have some more entertainment type shows because this is literally all we know about how wizards entertain themselves, at all. We don't know of any real fiction books, except maybe some kids' books, like The Tale of the Beetle and the Bard. So what do wizards do for their free time? I don't know. They listen to radio. So that's what we get. One of the ways that we fill... So Harry, Ron, and Hermione are out in the woods, right? They're out camping. They don't get any communication, really, with what's going on in the rest of the world. Can't get the Daily Prophet coming to them. Can't get Quibbler. None of that. How do they fill that hole in book 7? It was Potter Watch. Potter Watch is the radio station put on by Lee Jordan and the Weasley twins, and it involves pretty much all the members of the Order of Phoenix, and it is where they learn about who's died. It's where they learn about what Voldemort's doing. It's the major connection, because people make fun of book 7 a lot, oh my god, they're camping for half the book, right? How do you tie in to the world that you've created? This is where JK Rowling has those moments of, okay, I'm going to touch base back with the rest of the world, we're going to listen to Potter Watch. So, the other really interesting thing about Potter Watch is that it behaves like the Daily Prophet and the Quibbler behave earlier. Potter Watch fills that hole. It's a major plot point. And it's also a major turning point. So, Harry listens to Potter Watch, and it's funny, and the world is still going on, and all of this tension for being isolated in the woods, and Ron betraying them, and everything, all of this, etc., it leaves. He literally says he could feel the weight of tension leaving him. Literally, he gets this emotional relief moment, right? Immediately after, Potter Watch gives some information about Voldemort. Ooh, blah, 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 what's he doing? And Harry's like, I knew he was looking for the wand. He's doing it. I know what's happening, etc. And then he proceeds to say Voldemort. Oh my god, name's taboo. That's when the Death Eaters come and try to capture them, and that's when they get taken to Malfoy Manor. that's that major turning point. So literally, we're camping, we're in the woods, we listen to a little bit of Potter Watch to introduce it, we're camping, we're in the woods, Ron comes back, whatever, and then you get this last Potter Watch radio broadcast wherein we get this emotional sense of relief, right? So of course, like I said, JK is really good at building that tension, and then just as she gets rid of it, she adds more tension. So like the tension of the camping is this isolation, this stress, this what are we gonna do, what's going on, tension, tension, tension. Potter Watch, oh, that tension is leaving. Oh my God, I just said Voldemort's name. Oh, we're getting sent to Malfoy Manor, right? So then immediate plot point comes back up. And then they're at Malfoy Manor, and then he gets Draco's wand, and that's the reason he wins the whole like duel at the end, blah, blah, blah. Make sense? Sorry if I'm going fast. Who's Stubby Boardman? Anyone? Anyone? No?
It's something that you made up just to trick us.
No! No, Stubby Boardman's Sirius Black, obviously. No. That's an article that's given in the Quibbler about how Stubby Boardman's actually Sirius Black. In reality, he's the head singer for the Hobgoblins. So, but he's Sirius Black in disguise, guys. So why is media important in the Harry Potter series? Great world building. She world built a lot with her mass media within the Harry Potter series. Major plot points, almost all the major foreshadowing comes through some form of media. Characterizes Harry's relationship with the wizarding world, which, like we talked about, is super important for what gets built in the series. And it's just really, really cool to consider, I think. So, yeah, there you go. We have 5 minutes if you want to talk about anything else. I also have cards up here if anyone wants to grab one, or you can just, whatever, take my stuff. I did record this whole panel, so it will be up on YouTube in a couple weeks. Thank you guys, those of you who came and those of you who, talked up about your opinion. So, sorry if I was frazzled. Any other thoughts you want to say before going? Yes.
I think one of the things about about why there's not TV in the Wizarding world too is they have the Daily Prophet and all the moving pictures.
Yeah.
They kind of become obsolete if you have the Daily Prophet, the news stories, and you have the moving picture, you don't really need television.
Because you can talk to the picture and just do stuff over you.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That's true. Moving pictures is kind of how you bridge that gap. That's a great point. I love that. And portraits kind of bridge that gap too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Anything else?
It's a bit like saying, you don't need YouTube because we have gifts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's a little different. But then you can talk to portraits. You can't talk to them, right? So like that's a little bit talk to portraits.
Oh, and then
One thing that never really covered looks like how do portraits say like what makes
Thank you
them
again so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys for speaking up. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.